be tough to follow for anybody. I don't care. Stadium show, not stadium show. Anything that takes place after tonight has its work cut out for them. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys and let you ask some questions.
All right, so we got a lot of people in the room and a couple people on the phone, so we're going to do 2 domestic, 2 international, and 2 to the phone.
So we have more people in the room, but we're doing it the same as always.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, should we start with...
You go where you want, man. I'm going to go.
Mike Johnson, please join us.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Mike is back here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the UK match was one of the highlights of the show. What sort of details can you give us about the decision to integrate the UK match into the show tonight, and when we're looking at another UK Takeover, and are you going to do more sort of crossovers between the two brands for the big event?
So I think the timing was right, the build. It felt right that it should be here in New York. That match itself, particularly Pete and Walter, felt right. As far as the next NXT Takeover for the UK, we're definitely planning. It's when you do 600 live events a year, it's a little bit putting together a puzzle and trying to fit all the pieces in the right place. And we've had some things shift around internationally for us, so just trying to figure out where it's going to sit. But I didn't want to wait on this one. I wanted to make it happen in a big way because it felt epic and it felt like this was the right platform in which to do it, and clearly they delivered on it, which makes me think I made the right decision. So, but I look forward to getting back over there, and as that brand continues to grow, it's one of the most watched things on the WWE Network, and continues to grow. When we were there the last time in Blackpool, it trended #1 and all throughout the top 10 worldwide for the entire 2 hours against some pretty stiff competition. So, that brand continues to grow. I'm excited to get back over there and take it to an even another level, but we just have to get the timing right.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Well, it's so interesting to see how...
Sorry, just say...
Justin Morales, Sports Illustrated.
Thank you.
It's so interesting to see how you built a promotion to a brand. And a big part of that, obviously, is creating new stars. Balor goes to the main roster, Joe goes to the main roster. And I'm so curious, your opinion tonight of 3 big pieces, 2 of which were on the card tonight. Walter, Matt Riddle, who was excellent in the feet, and Kushida. Obviously, 2 of the first 2 wrestlers tonight, but when you see all 3 of those, you get a definite performance of the first 2. And when you see Kushida, 2 seems like a great sign.
Yeah, so it's the trick. It's funny, when we first started NXT, I can remember the first big series of people leaving and everybody saying it's done. Like, it was great, nice little run, but it's over. This is the problem, the inherent problem of it. And I remember saying at that time, it's not the problem, it's the secret. It is what will make it successful, because it will constantly cause us to create and to evolve and to grow. The brand that it was 5 years ago is nowhere near the brand that it is today. It wasn't a year ago, it wasn't the year before that, right? It constantly evolves and changes, and that is the secret and the magic to it. Constantly having those talent rise up, and Morrow, who's like the human fact machine, among other things, but I think he said something tonight, like 14 champions from NXT are at WrestleMania on Sunday. 80% of the main roster right now of Raw and SmackDown came out of NXT. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 matches on the card that don't have an NXT performer. Mine being one, the old-timey matches. The ones that will air in black and white, those ones didn't. That's the magic of it, and that is what I think is awesome about it. At a certain time, I think you're going to see people drift back and forth, in and out, right? We're just creating this wealth of stars and putting them on a global platform, and the level of star that they are when they walk in the door, even if they have a past and a following. We were just talking about this earlier today, and Alistair and Ricochet were talking about it, like the level of performer that you come in and the level of performer that you leave, it's a different ball game. How much better they get, and it's hard to see it sometimes, but when you go back and you look at it, it's very clear. But that's the secret of this. When you talk about the future of here, it's bright. The fact that you can be, what were we, 2 weeks out of the biggest show in the brand's history, and the main event, you know, that your champion unfortunately has to step out due to injury, and you can just pick it up, flip it, and it's just as epic, and it means just as much off of a 2.5 year or more saga going into it. That speaks to the depth of it. You see Walter coming in as good as Pete Dunne has been for, what was it, 685 days or something like that? I don't know why I'm looking at him. As good as that was, you know, to be able to come in there and take that and move forward with that. I'm sure there's some type of political statement somebody will want to ask me about the European and the Brexit thing. I was told walking in here, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But Matt Riddle, incredible talent, you know, and just getting started. Think how good he is right now. Think how good he'll be a year from now, right? With all the tools in front of him. Kushida, you know, I don't know how he gets better, but he will. That whole thing, it just continues to grow. And as good as this is right now, a year from now, I think we can look back and go, it's even better.
Yeah.
Tom from the Sun.
Wait, you screwed up the whole thing. You said 2, and then to the phone, and then you went for 3.
No, I said 2 domestic, 2 international, then 2 to the phone.
Oh, all right. Just making sure we stick to the rules.
I'll ask the question. Big win for Walter tonight. Does Walter's win have anything to do with Brexit?
Of course. Of course. It's all a political game. The whole thing, we're just making political statements what we do. No, dude, he's just awesome. He's awesome. Pete's awesome. It's the right time to do the right thing. I don't know about the UK falling and making a comeback or something like that. To be honest, I don't understand the whole Brexit thing. Just get in or get out. Pick one. You know what I mean? But whatever you guys need to do. Just I don't see UK or Europe when I look at those guys. I see talent. I don't look at the difference between the guys and the women. I just see talent. I see epic talent. I see it in Walter. I see it in Pete.
Japan.
This is Weekly Collecting from Japan.
Hi.
We have a question on Kushida.
Yes.
So what led you to decide on having a contract with him, and what do you expect from him? How was the reaction? What do you think of the reaction tonight?
Well, first of all, his reaction was massive. You know, we tend to put people in the crowd and to try to gauge those reactions. He's probably got one of the biggest ones we've ever done because he's a star. Has a massive international following, and in this week, there's massive international presence here. He is somebody that we've had our eye on for a long time. Somebody that I've you know, honestly, if I said who would I like to have here, he would have been at the very top of my list. So I couldn't be more excited to have him here. I know Regal feels the same way. He's a massive signing for us, and having him come here and do what he does. And what do I expect? I expect him to be awesome. I expect him to be everything he's been everywhere else, and to you know, to display what he does. We'll give him the opportunity here to display it like he's never had before. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go to the phones for 2 questions, please.
It is star 1 if you have a question or a comment. We'll hear first from Jim Barcelone from Miami Herald.
Paul, congrats on an awesome show. Hey, congrats on an awesome show. Your thought process with Ciampa coming out at the end, just behind that from your standpoint, were there talks of not doing that? How did that all plan out for you?
Yeah, you know, you go back and forth on it, and where do you want to land on it? I think that from a real standpoint, if you competitively look at this you want to succeed as much as humanly possible. And you want to be in that spot. That's what everybody, men and women, should want here. They want to be in that spot. That spot gets taken away from you. You want the guy that's closest to you to have that spot when you don't. That's just sort of kind of how it works. I think even from, if you talked about it from a storyline standpoint, while Tommaso Ciampa, the evil Tommaso Ciampa, would want to have it himself, if he isn't going to have it, then he would probably want Johnny to have it. Even though they're entrenched in this war, he might as well have it if I can't. I think that's part of it. It's an emotional ride, and knowing where he's at right now, knowing what he's going through, showing what he's going through from that real side on it, on the WWE PC YouTube stuff. That if you've seen that, shows you a lot of the real epic journeys of kind of what all these talent really go through on a day-to-day basis to try to make it in this industry. It was a real moment, and to me, sometimes those are the best moments by far. It's the stuff that you can't script, the stuff that you can't write. That's the most meaningful, and this was one of those moments, and it was the right thing to do, for my opinion, anyways. But we debated it and got to where we got to. But it was an epic moment.
Again, great show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, another one on the phone.
We'll move next to Andrew Thompson from Fightful.
How are you, Triple H?
Andrew.
How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to ask you about, I have a two-part question here for you. I was going to ask about Pete Dunne ending his 685-day reign as NXT UK champion. Could there be a main roster run in the future for Pete Dunne? And was there any consideration of having him hold the belt as he was nearing the 2-year mark with just 1 month left?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things weigh into the factor. As far as a Raw, SmackDown, or anything else run, yeah, he will do amazing things with his career. I think, what is Pete now, 20, I lose track, what's he, 23, 24? He's just getting started. It's amazing how good he is at the age that he's at, and he's another guy that when you look at him starting with us just a couple of years ago, even over there, how good he's become, how much better he is now than he was then. It's awesome to see. But, it's a funny thing when something like this goes down and you say that the moment in time, well, that came to an end, so now where does he go? Like, onward and upward, whether he's back in that title picture, whether he's moves on to a different title picture, I don't know that there's too many people here with a brighter future than him. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants to do in this business.
Thank you. Back to the room.
Hi, Paul. My question was about Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle. The crowd was behind Velveteen Dream and really not like Matt Riddle. What was your take on that reaction, and does that affect their trajectory at all in NXT?
No, it's a funny thing because I felt like it was almost 50-50 up front. But again, I wasn't in the crowd though. You were.
I was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if that's accurate from where we were. That's what it sounded like. But either way, look, you take two characters that are that popular and you stick them in the ring together. It's tough for them to stay 50-50 the whole time. I think we showed a frustration point in that. I think that's part of what's going to get him to the next level because he is kind of calm and laid back, and having those points in time where somebody pushes him to get to another level of emotion, that's a good thing. It doesn't mean I think when he walks out of here, it doesn't mean he's less popular. Tough to be more popular than Velveteen Dream maybe in this moment, especially with an entrance like that. Yeah, I think they both had an epic night. I think it was this whole night across the board to me. Nobody lost tonight. Everybody came out of this show, and that's kind of the goal in all of these things is everybody came out of here better performers, better reactions, better everything. They just became bigger stars, all of them tonight. Win, lose, or draw, all the way through. Bigger stars.
So you've had Johnny Gargano now NXT for about 2 years. How would you compare what he was like when he came in to where he is now, and where have you seen him from?
Oh my God, the level of emotional performer that he is just changed dramatically. He was really good, don't get me wrong then, and he wasn't handed anything here. You know, he had a scratch and claw, and we talked about that story, but it wasn't like he, you know, we saw him and just said, hey, here's a contract, and, you know, get on board. I didn't have the space. I didn't have the thing. We offered him a chance. They over-delivered. We offered him another chance. They over-delivered. You know, we just kept coming back, scratch, claw, dig, the whole thing. They just worked harder than everybody else, both he and Tommaso, to earn those spots. But for both of them, the level of polished, all-around character, the level of emotion, I look at it differently. You know, it's not the spots or the moves. It's how do they pull emotion out of you in these things, and by the end of it, where are you at emotionally? And the level of performer that he is now it's not even on the same league as where he was when he started. He's just so much more polished and calm, and there's situations that he just seamlessly, things don't go right, seamlessly gets out of him. It's amazing to see. But that's taking advantage of everything that's in front of him, and he continues to grow. It's awesome to watch, really. It really is. My favorite part of the Performance Center is just watching talent go from where they are to just becoming something more constantly on a day-to-day basis, and watching that growth curve, whether that's, you know, Velveteen Dream, you know, walking in the door with us in the very beginning with just the tools and becoming what he is now. It's just those growth curves. Shayna Baszler going from where she was to where she is now. Bianca Belair just walking in the door at 0 to where she is right now. Like the growth curve on these talent is amazing, and what he's done in the you know, you think about a couple of years, but it's a short period of time. It really is. It's awesome.
Gavin? Will Gavin, Talk Sport. I know you talked a bit about his future, but can I just ask a question on his reign and how it legitimised the NXT UK brand? And have you been in any way surprised by just how quickly that brand has been successful?
I don't want to say surprised, because you know, when we started it was hard to see the level of talent and what you could do with that talent. I think it being embraced by the rest of everybody else, because it's a different style somewhat. You know, the thing that impresses me about all the guys and women in that brand is the way they've been able to morph styles and make them their own. Even prior to us coming in there was like this neat little hodgepodge blend of these little bits of everywhere that were all just kind of put together, but yet set in this classic, you know, UK old school style. I love it. And it was easy to see that, and taking them, and, you know, it was funny when we first started with them, sometimes the simplest things we would say to them, like this simple little thing, and they would look at us like, wow, that's mind-blowing. I've never heard that before. You know, Pete actually said that to Sean and I one time, like, I literally have never heard that. And we were like, this is like the simple thing, but it was like this epiphany moment to them. And then they came back after doing it and were like, oh my God, that just got so much exponentially easier. To see those moments for them is awesome. Was I surprised by the success? No, but excited by it. And I think we're just now nicking the surface. It takes time to get it to where you want to be. And, you know, for 2 years, everybody's going, geez, this thing's taking forever. I can't believe they're not doing this yet. And then we got there and they were like, geez, it happened so fast. You know, we're going to take it to another level. We just have to make it. I want to make sure it's right. I don't want to do it halfway. I want to make sure that it's right, so that every step of it continues to grow and become something more.
Yeah, Stephen?
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
I was just wondering if the upcoming Fox deal in the fall might open up any possibilities for NXT transferring over to mainstream TV.
You have to ask the Fox guys that. I think the opportunities are there for a lot of things. I know there's a lot of interest in NXT as a brand. I know both here and the UK. I know that there's a lot of interest in it, but it's a very valuable commodity to the network as well, right? It's you know, the number one and number two most watched thing on the network by far, outside of pay-per-views. So it's from that standpoint very, very valuable. So is that an opportunity? Absolutely. I think you see that even just in the fact that today, you know, I was on FS1 this morning and we announced that we're going to do a show. What term did they call it? Well, I can't remember the term they use for it anyways. It's late. I was up early. But you know, it'll be kind of a recap show where they analyze the different shows, but it'll be Raw, it'll be SmackDown, and it'll be NXT. And they'll discuss all those shows. And, you know, sort of kind of a cross between a UFC Tonight type show and a Talking Dead, somewhere in that mix in between, and talking about all of it. But the fact that they really want NXT to be a big piece of that shows you the interest level. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Back to the phones for two.
And at this time, there are no callers in the queue.
Great. So back to the room. Tim?
You're all here. Yeah. Packed house.
It appeared that Ricochet had something of a hard landing at the end of the tag team title match. Would you be able to provide any sort of insight into how he was doing afterwards and concerns in terms of
So he's fine. Immediate concern, but then he was absolutely fine. And you know, look, that's one of those things when you kind of saw the landing, we all went into protection mode for him, and everybody got in there, and luckily he was good, you know. But we don't like to take chances on all that. So luckily he was fine. But that was us going like, oh my God, get in there and make sure he's okay. You know what I mean? And ended up being fine.
Hey, Reddick, the Orlando Center. You talked about how fast the turnaround had to be in creative to get from Tampa to Colmar. Talk about the first couple of meetings after that injury happened, after you knew, because you sort of had to flip it. And one night taping the full set.
Yeah.
Talk about the creative there.
And you just have everybody bring as many ideas as they can to the table from everywhere, and then you sift through them, and then you have to weigh them all out. And you know, there's no scientific formula that tells you which one is the best. It's gut, right? And so you feel it out. You sit on it for a little bit. You let everybody sit on it. You let everybody come back with their opinions and all of that, and then you just have somebody got to make a decision. In this case, it's me, and I have to determine which one we're going to go with. You know, there's a lot of ways we could have gone, but and a lot of them would have been right, I think. But I think we picked the absolute best one. I feel by far. It was kind of one of those things where once we got them all on the table, I never like to make a decision until I hear them all, but once they were all on the table, I really kind of felt like I knew where I wanted to go with it. And how we were going to get there is a different story. Then once you figure it out, then you got to start to work the process of it. But again, the depth of the pool, the ability then of those performers to be able to take it to another level, to be able to, even then in one night, to be able to go to Full Sail, do that 5-way. The level of performers that are in that, some, you know, some been in this business a long time, some haven't, but to take that level of performance and, you know, when we got done that taping, Sean and Michael Hayes and I all looked at each other and were like, was it just me or did that feel as epic as we were in an epic place? That felt like it was just as good, and we were all like this is absolutely going to be the right thing. So, but that's on them. That's on the talent.
And you want to wrap it up?
It's the go home cue right there.
So you had access. You have the Fox brand World Collide event.
Yes.
smaller forms that are being put.
Yeah.
Is that something that you foresee being just for access, or would you like to expand it to other pay-per-views and other events?
We'll see where it goes. Like, I think it's one of the great things that as you... Did the game just start? What happened? You know, as you create this and you have NXT UK, and we've talked about the going forward, the putting the Performance Center in the UK, what markets do we go to next? You know, India, China, all these other markets where we can go and create brands. Are they as easy as UK? No, but as we create those, you're creating those other opportunities to have all these worlds collide. And to have that be something that's epic, to have Raw, SmackDown, NXT UK, all these things, to have these different moments, and especially as, you know, NXT talent move up and move over and change to all these places, to have alumni come together. There's just so many possibilities on all of it to do amazing things and matches that people don't think they're going to get, and kind of do these one-offs and tournaments and all these things. They're all great opportunities that, if you're a fan, they're awesome. You know, I kind of how I judge all this stuff. Like, I just go back to being a kid, and if I think to myself, if I was just watching this in this moment, I'd love to see all that stuff. So let's create it. Are we doing another one?
Or you want to wrap?
Do one more while I'm fighting the TV.
Sounds like one more international question. We're going, making a good one.
Just on Ricochet and Aleister Black, emotional send-off for them today, what you imagine for them moving up to Raw and SmackDown, and who you think can step up and get the opportunities with them leaving?
I think both of them have already stepped up. They've been doing triple duty here for like the last, 2 months? Raw, SmackDown, NXT, delivering on all of it. I mean, I think, did they have like a title match this past week? They had a title match tonight. I have a title match tomorrow. It's a pretty good week. What's that?
They lose all three.
Well, that's all right. That's a good exposure. It's good exposure in the moment. Why's everything got to be a negative with you? You know, it's. I think it's always a bittersweet thing. You know, you want to take that next level. You want that next challenge. I think in many ways it's like, you know, if you looked at NXT as college football, and you're leaving your school and you're leaving your teammates and you're leaving all these things to move on to something different, but you're looking forward to that challenge and that opportunity. It's not an easy challenge. It's a different challenge, and you have to be able to step up to a different platform and all those things. So it's not a given. It's not a gimme. And they have to be able to get, you know, that's when the real work starts, and they have to be able to step up and do all those things. So far, they've done it amazingly well. I think the future is incredibly bright for both of those talent. But it's a bittersweet moment, you know, and I told both of them when they were done, this is always their home. You know, it's a funny thing because they're staying in the mix, right? Like it's the same company, but there's those moments, and not being in the same place with the same people all the time, and you know, the team atmosphere of the Performance Center and everything else, it's a different world. So, really exciting, and they're both thrilled, but at the same point in time, bittersweet. As far as who takes their place, we talked about it earlier. I can make a list of 10 people that on the roster right now that could probably do it seamlessly. That's the beauty of this. You know, you have talent sitting right behind them, and you know the list of the people that have come in even in the last few months, and that's not the people that have been there for a little while now. So the truth is, I remember hearing the story that Stone Cold tells all the time about standing next to Vince. I think it was at Madison Square Garden, and saying, you know, man, he's good. And Vince said, yeah, he is. I hope he makes it. And Austin looking at him and thinking, why would he say that? Doesn't he kind of control that, you know? And truth as it isn't, you know, there's a component to that, but what you do with the platform that you're given is what makes you or doesn't. And people can debate that, but there's a lot of that is the truth, because when it's there, trust me, we will follow it. So they have the platform. Now let's see what they do with it. So when we look at the rest of the roster of who's going to take their place, there's a big long list. We'll see who steps up and takes it. But thank all of you for coming here. I know it's a big week. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for doing this and supporting what we're doing and stepping up to it. And I look forward to reading all your comments and seeing what everybody says. But I think we set a hell of a template and a pace for the rest of the week. And good luck to everybody trying to follow it. So thank you very much.